Hey there, folks. Welcome back to the Overflow. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, and for once I'm not hungry.
That's a surprise.
Yeah, I had some good Chinese food today. Satisfied my craving.
And you're still full. That's the surprising thing.
Yeah,
Every time I eat Chinese, I'm hungry 15 minutes later.
no, I had sweet and sour chicken, steamed rice, an egg roll, and a spring roll, and it was filling, all of it.
Nice. You
So
found the
I'm
one
good.
filling Chinese restaurant in the world.
Apparently I have. I mean, I didn't even need any wonton soup or anything.
Yeah.
So miracle workers.
Other than that, before we get into the questions, we usually start off talking about goofy stuff going on in the world, but today we've got some Antifa stuff going on in the world, at least when it comes to
Oh my
Bernie
God.
Sanders' campaign.
Oh my
What the
God.
hell?
They're going to send it. They're going to send people back to the gulags.
Yeah, they're literally a freaking communist supporter. Like, Stalin didn't do nothing. Like in Bernie's campaign, and apparently there's more. Like, that's not oof. That's a big oof, to say the least. I did not expect. I actually did not expect. I was shocked by that. I really was. I didn't think that
Yeah.
there would be somebody so overt in Bernie's campaign. But then again, I remembered afterwards that that somebody who did work on his campaign last time did try to assassinate sitting congressman. So there
Yeah.
is that.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the thing about being a revolutionary. Eventually, you're going to have to pull the trigger,
Yeah,
and no one is going to back you up once you pull that trigger.
agreed. So yeah, that was crazy. I'm curious to see what Project Veritas is going to dig up beyond that. All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else really to go over before we get started into the questions. We've got an equal measure of both politics and entertainment this week.
Cool.
But real quick, we are, like I've mentioned before, we are literally teetering on the edge of 1,000 subscribers on this channel. So if you watch the show weekly and you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. As of right now, we're at 978, so 22 more, and we're at 1,000. But like we've said before, we do not plan on monetizing this channel as of right now. We would much rather just basically have what we call fan sponsorship. You know, you guys
Mhm.
fund through donations and things like that to keep us rolling. So that's why we do the donation goal every week. This week we may even do. There was demand for if we hit $75 for me to do a review of the "This Smells Like My Vagina" candle from Goop.
Oh my God. Oh
So
my God.
now apparently they're not going to be available for a couple months now. So we'll just set that as like a tier 3
Is
thing.
is this the new gamer girl bathwater?
I don't know, but I'm just of the opinion that I don't think Gwyneth Paltrow's Snatch smells that good. You know, from what they described what was in it. I'm like, I've had my nose a few places where it doesn't belong, and I'll just say right now, it's a distinctive smell for just about every girl, like depending on what level you've washed up.
Yeah.
Like nether regions always smell like sweat. Like it's just the way it
Yeah.
goes.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been kind of kicking around ideas too, and someone reminded me that I once ate possum pate on the
Oh
show for a
yes,
donation goal.
I remember that.
So I'm kind of wondering if I should bring back like food challenges.
That would be
Um,
interesting. It would be nice for me to
like
not be the only one to suffer all the fucking time.
like specifically spicy stuff because I've said before I've certainly let slip that I'm not a huge fan of spicy things.
Oh, you could do Diablo
So
sauce next time.
well, that's the thing. I like Diablo sauce though. Diablo sauce doesn't bother me.
Hmm.
What bothers me is 700 Scoville hot sauce,
Ooh.
which I have had before. That hurts. That hurts. So I'm willing to put myself through pain for you guys. So if you have any suggestions, I will gladly take your money to torture myself.
That would be an interesting time.
Yeah, as
Another
long as it doesn't
thing,
cause permanent bodily harm.
one thing though, when you speak of spicy stuff that I wish I had the recipe to, is ghost pepper venison chili. It's amazing, and
I
at some
am
point I'm
actually
going to find
about
it.
to come into possession of a lot of venison, so
Ooh, yeah, venison chili's the good stuff.
hmm.
That's one thing that I'm hoping to do. I'm actually considering, whenever I get the chance to move out to North Carolina, how many catfish are there out there?
Um, it depends. Mostly you'd have to find a pond or a lake with them. Mostly just ponds. And you'd have to know somebody basically because it's almost certainly going to be on someone's property.
Well, I was
But
just
you
wondering
can
if there's anybody out there that noodles.
you can buy catfish at some places around here though.
Well, I want to make sure there's somebody who knows how to prepare it properly, because some people, when they prepare catfish, especially if they noodle for the big ones, which is what I want, they don't cut the tails off, and
Right.
the meat doesn't drain, and it just doesn't taste the same. So, but there's a Cajun catfish recipe that I saw Gordon Ramsay prepare once that sounded awesome, that I want to try out, that I thought would be really, really good with like cornbread and maybe some green beans on the side too. Like, it just sounded great.
Yeah.
So, but it's like, man, I really want to get back to country living. You know, I'm a city boy at heart, but there's some elements of country living that are great, mostly because it's not hard to find somebody who can get you half a deer or half a cow or half a pig, you know, to just throw in your freezer and then have meat for half a year, you know?
Yeah. We get a ton of pork. I mean, like, just holidays usually we'll get an entire pork shoulder, and we will eat barbecue for a month and a half.
Yeah.
It's oh my god, and the ribs you can get here too.
Yeah. That's one thing I miss, man. It was just I've actually like been encouraged by a lot of people to move home from Bloomington, move back out to the country. I'm genuinely considering it, you know, just go back to the quiet life. You know, things are cheaper out there. I know where
The
everything
mountains
is.
here.
Yeah.
Let's see. You might enjoy Wilkes County around here. Wilkes County has got it's close enough to being urban that it doesn't feel like out in the middle of the sticks, but it's still, you know, a ways away from everything, or at least enough so to the point where, you know, you can go out in your backyard and shoot your gun and nobody's gonna bitch at you for it.
Nice.
So yeah, it's best of both, I think.
But no, something like that I always thought would be really, really cool. Because yeah, here where I live, down where my dad lives actually, there's a good place to catch catfish, but they're not gonna be big. Not like the ones that like live in holes at the bottom of lakes.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're not huge here, but again, like you can always get catfish fillets from, well, you have to go to like specialty places.
Yeah, I imagine like meat markets would
Yeah.
probably have them.
Yeah, they do.
All right, folks, enough about food. I don't know. I've just been in the mood for some country cooking lately. So let's go ahead and get started into the questions. Now that we've made our entire audience really, really hungry. So partner, politics or entertainment? What do you got off the coin toss?
All right, heads is politics, tails is entertainment. Tails, we start with entertainment.
All right. So to get us rolling, John Whitesell wants to know: exterminate us on Disney for putting demons in the Owl House. A real 40K Inquisitor would bring out virus bombs for precisely that. I have no idea what he's talking about.
I do not either.
What is the Owl House?
I'm not sure. It is an animated series. I'm not familiar with this at all.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like something that I would watch. So I can't declare Exterminatus on something I have not seen or would not be interested in.
Yeah,
though oddly enough,
cannot do that.
Yeah, when it comes to animation, though, a lot of people really want me to watch Has Been Hotel.
It's not bad. It feels like
the
it
animation
like
from what I saw looked really smooth.
Yeah, it is. It feels almost like a long form or like a fully realized Newgrounds cartoon in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And what I saw was, I believe, like a pilot for it. It was like a half hour.
Yeah.
But it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It almost reminded me of like Rob Zombie stuff in a way.
Yeah, the animation kind of reminded me a little bit of Genndy Tartakovsky, actually.
Hmm.
The what I saw of it though was just a short clip that was just called "Doom Guy Goes to the Has Been Hotel."
Yes, I've seen that too.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, let's keep going. Crystal Hydra wants to know, how would you write an EDF story with characters based on the 4 classes from the game? Trooper, Wing Diver, Air Raider, and Fencer. So Earth Defense Force, I have never played. So
Neither have I.
I cannot answer that question. I have no fucking clue.
Yeah, can't tell you.
Tyler Jorgensen. Actually, wait. Is there any other writing questions? Yes. Angry Green Boss wants to know, how do you write a balanced story where it's not too mature but not for kids? I'm thinking about writing such a story. Well, it depends on what you want to do. Are you wanting, when you talk about balanced as in not for kind of an all ages thing, are you meaning basically a kids show that throws little nods at adult things that kids aren't going to pick up on, like Animaniacs or Freakazoid? Or do you truly mean an all ages show where there's something for everybody, like Justice League? Or Batman the Animated Series.
Or, I know you haven't seen it, Avatar The Last Airbender.
Yeah, that would be another good example. Like, so it depends on what you mean. If it's the first one, I couldn't tell you, because I generally don't write for a younger audience. I write for teenage to adulthood. I have never written a child story. Yeah. I don't know if I have it in me. As a lot of people have noticed, I am an edgy metalhead. Like, it's very, very difficult. I'm wearing a band shirt right now. I mean, come on. But, you know, it's one of those things where I'm not really sure how to do it myself. I don't know if I could. If I'm going to write something for everyone, I think Englewood is kind of along those lines, where you could read it to a younger person if they, you know, I think a 10-year-old could read Englewood. You know, there's not a lot of like language, and what language there is, we censor it out.
Yeah, I will say this: we are planning on putting Englewood in at least one library here where I'm at, specifically for kids and teenagers, because they have expressed interest in comics, and because this is more like a underprivileged inner city library, I figured, hey, you know what? Englewood's right up the alley there, because that's basically where it takes place.
We would much rather have them reading our stuff than current Marvel or DC.
Exactly.
So, just another place to compete, in my opinion.
Why not?
But anyway, I guess if I was, let's say I was contracted to do such a thing, the big thing that I am focusing on basically is that you can't be blatantly violent or blatantly gory. Death has to be implied. You usually want to do it off screen and just show the reaction and sell it that way. And that, I think, is now that I think about it even more, I do that in Englewood.
Mm-hmm.
Our artist on the book and friend Brian, he just submitted to us in when you people read it that are part of the audience, when you get to it, it'll be page 30. God. 33. And it's chilling. Because I know what's happening next. And I will just say that, like, when I saw that art, I got shivers down my spine.
No, the facial expressions.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be a great book. But anyway, yeah, the big thing is you can't have anything blatant. That's the big thing. Like, you can't show people getting ripped in half or getting shot in the face or stuff like that. It has to be off camera. It has to be, something along those lines. If you're gonna do like comedy for all ages, non sequitur works really well. I've noticed non sequitur humor. I hate to compliment Doug TenNapel because he's a dick, but he's actually really good at that. Yeah, that's I don't know. Beyond that, like, I know, like, Ethan told me to do sort of a PG-13 thing. He basically says, don't put anything in there that wouldn't be in Raiders of the Lost Ark. But even then, there's melted faces in that. So maybe don't put anything in there that wouldn't be in The Empire Strikes Back. I think that's a much better standard. Because Empire Strikes Back, the first Star Wars film has a little bit of blood in it. When the one dude gets his arm hacked off in the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yeah, ironically, though.
From a lightsaber, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, that was the first time that we had seen, a lightsaber hack someone's limb off, so it's...
Fair point.
Yeah.
But anyway, that would be my answer for that. Let's see here. Tyler Jorgensen says, have you got around to watching Toko or not? Was I paid to watch Toko?
I would not know. I don't keep the list.
I don't remember. No, this was recommended to me in a donation. If it was meant to pay me to watch an episode of it, then I will at some point. I just have to find a time to see it. Somebody, I think, mentioned it because I like kind of darker stuff, and that would kind of be the up my alley. So, Jason South wants to know, have I read the most recent chapter of Berserk? If so, thoughts? The last one that I read was when they got back to Guts and Casca. And that one hurt to read. So let me see if that is the most recent. I don't remember. Let me check here real quick. So we're at chapter 360? 359. I'm just going to have a look and see if this is the one. Yes, this is the one. So I have read it. And yeah, this was a fucking heart-wrenching one to read. It's awesome to see Casca back in her form. It really is. Like, and Miura drew her to be as gorgeous as he always draws her. Like, it's awesome to just see her be her again. And then the end of it, spoilers, guys, so shut your ears if you haven't read it yet and you love Berserk, is they can't look at each other. Because every time that she sees him, she sees the eclipse all over again. And just seeing that, like, broke my heart. But that's the power of Kentaro Miura's storytelling ability. He is so fucking good at what he does. So fucking good. He's amazing. And like you can see with the Berserk art that I have over here, he's one of the best artists in the world. You know, I think the only person that matches his level of detail, and I've told Ethan this to his face, like he's the only one that I can think of that matches that level of detail. You know. So yeah, and no offense to Ethan, but Miura is a better writer. But Miura's been writing longer too, so don't take it personal, Ethan. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it, Jason. It was heartbreaking, but that's part of the reason it was so fucking good. Brian Gilmartin wants to know, any thoughts on the newest version of New Warriors? Your boy Zach did a video on it, and I gotta say the characters look awful. It does look pretty trash. I am not gonna read it, because it's Marvel, and I don't read anything current Marvel except for Venom. And even then, I only read Venom every once in a while. Because Donny Cates doesn't write for issues. He writes for trades. Which, by the way, Englewood is not decompressed. It is very much the opposite. My whole thing is this. A comic book arc should be 3 issues to 5 issues. 6 if you're telling an epic story, like something that's huge. You should never, ever, ever expand more panels just for the sake of doing it. It doesn't tell the story as well as you think it does. So there's another piece of writing advice. Let's see here. Eclectic wants to know... Actually, no, we'll do that one last because this next one's a JoJo question, and you only just started. So...
Yeah.
Speaking of which, how do you find it so far? What do you think?
The very first episode I thought was just like, this almost feels like slice of life. I know it's not going to be slice of life, but what the fuck is happening? And then, like, the second episode happened, and I'm like, okay, now I'm kind of getting into it. So that's it. I'm 2 episodes in.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, definitely watch more. Like,
but yes, at least I got my it was me Dio scene in.
Oh yes. So now you know the origin of Kono Dio Da. Are you watching the dub version or the sub version?
I was watching the dub version.
Okay.
If only because I can afford to look away.
No, that's understandable. And the dub is actually really good on that first season.
It's not terrible.
Because you have Johnny Young Bosch as JoJo, and then Patrick Sates as Dio. And Patrick Sates is a really good voice actor.
That's the thing, though. I don't know if I like JoJo's accent.
Well, he's British.
I know he's British, but I don't know. Maybe it just sounds too posh for me. But
no, he is rich.
Yes, I'm aware.
I don't know. It's Phantom Blood is, with me, is tied for, like, I think it's probably the best season for your buck in regards to the fact that it's length in comparison. The second season is good. I like it quite a bit. Joseph Joestar is a great protagonist. He's hilarious. When you see him, you'll be like, yeah, that's why Micah calls him his spirit animal, isn't it? Like, it's basically like me if I was a JoJo character. But the third season is kind of a monster of the week with direction. Like, there's an end goal, but it's very much a monster of the week show where you inch bit by bit towards whatever that end goal is. Whereas the fourth one seems a little bit like directionless, the fourth season. The fifth season is formatted more like the third. And the sixth season, everyone's going to hate. I guarantee you, everyone will hate Stone Free. Everybody. But anyway, He asks me, how would I rank each of the main JoJo villains from my favorite to my least favorite? So, favorite to least favorite. So, favorite's Dio. Nobody compares to Dio. Dio is the Doctor Doom of anime, in my opinion. Like, he's phenomenal as a villain. Just phenomenal. After Dio, I would probably have to say... There's a lot of antagonists, so I'm just going to do with the main ones. After Dio, I would have to say... Cars. Cars would have to be number 2. Then I would have to say after that... I can never remember the boss from Season 4. Whose name escapes me at the moment. But we'll just call him King Crimson. He would probably be my pick for number 3. I like the dual personality thing with him. Then the last would probably be Kira. I haven't seen Stone Free. I only know of it by reputation. But Kira, I think, is the worst JoJo villain. I think he sucks. He's a serial killer. He's kind of boring. He's not really that scary either. He doesn't come across as threatening because there's a point where Jotaro literally beats the shit out of him. Well, then you know that if Jotaro gets anywhere close to him, he's dead. So where's the threat? You took out the threat, and then you try to reinstall him later. It just doesn't work. It's not. I really don't like Diamond is Unbreakable. So that's how I would rank them. But the thing is, like, it's like you can't top Dio. You just can't. He's too good of a villain. All right. And finally, Eclectic 1995 wants to know, what advice would you give to someone who is creating a magic power system? Give it rules. And stick to those rules.
Yes, and make sure you know where everything is scale-wise. Yeah. Do not, and let me make this explicitly clear, do not get power crept. Yeah. Do not let power creep become a thing. Because, and this comes with establishing the rules of it. If it's not clear, if you don't have like a ceiling, then in order to up the stakes, you're going to have to keep changing the rules and making things more and more and more powerful. But there needs to be an end to it. This is the top. You can't get any higher than this.
Yeah, because like in the universe that Project Lazarus and Three Knights and Englewood are in, there's basically only 3 types of magic that are available, and they pull from 3 different sources. One pulls from hell, one pulls from heaven, one pulls from what I call chaotic universes, which are other dimensions, basically, that can lead to other versions of Earth or something totally different entirely. And I wrote those rules pretty early on, and I stick to them. In Three Knights, you will see some elements of that, and it's pretty scary, as Hatman can attest. Mm-hmm. And then two of the villains that people are gonna see in these stories are, I think a lot of people are really gonna love them, honestly, because of how fucking bastardly they are. But then again, that's my motto when it comes to making a straight up villain: bastardly and dastardly. Always follow those 2 archetypes, because that is how you make a great villain. Is just make him an asshole.
It's evil, bastardly plan.
Yeah.
I remember that video.
Yep. All right. Are you ready, partner, for depression?
As long as it's not Depression Quest, I'm ready.
It is not, thank goodness.
Good.
So politics, Matchstick wants to know, for Iran, do you think we could get the Pope to declare a crusade? Nope, the Pope sucks.
Yeah, that's not going to happen ever again. You want a crusade? Do it yourself.
Yeah. DIY crusades. BYOB, bring your own ballista.
Do a YouTube series, Deus vaulting on a budget.
Oh, that'd be so much fun. All right, Brian Gilmartin wants to know, what's up with the whole Jews are not white thing? I don't know. I have no fucking clue. People are weird on the internet.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That sounds like some white nationalist shit to me.
Yeah, like, the term white doesn't even hold that much of a significance, to be honest with you.
No.
It's a catch-all. In the same way that black is a catch-all.
Yeah.
And Asian is a catch-all.
Yeah. Yeah, because Asian, you typically think of, like, East Asian and forget the fact that Indian people are Asian, too.
Yeah, so to say, in Britain, Asian means something completely different.
Yeah. Just like, white, there's a difference between Anglo-Saxons and Slavs.
Yeah.
So,
which, by the way, keep in mind, back in the day, and there's still arguments on whether or not Slavs are white.
Mm-hmm.
So that's stupid too. But I don't know. I guess if you got a little of the original tribes in you, then I guess you're not pure enough. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care. I think it's silly. John Whitesell wants to know, should there be a constitutional amendment in which the Speaker of the House gets prosecuted for treason if they don't submit impeachment papers within 30 days of the vote? No.
No.
That would be silly.
No.
Treason is punishable by death. That's a little ridiculous.
Yeah. Even then, like, how in the hell is that, like, a betrayal of the country or aiding and abetting an enemy of the United States?
Yeah, that's, like, you gotta keep something in mind. Bo Bergdahl was considered for being charged under treason for what he did. Like, that is something that needs to be considered, like that, and that was pretty bad, and other people who have left the United States and, like, joined forces to kill Americans have been considered for treason and probably should have been charged under it. So, like, you can't compare that to, like being a political dipshit whenever it comes to the articles of impeachment to being like a Benedict Arnold. Yeah. Eclectic 1995 wants to know, what taxes do you find acceptable in paying?
Sales tax.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm a little more okay with income tax than the next guy, but the one that I'm definitely not okay with is property tax.
Yeah, property tax is fucking stupid.
Yeah, I think that's bullshit. Yeah. I mean, if you want to have a functioning government, you have to pay some form of taxes. I'm not on this whole, taxation is theft thing. At least not entirely. It's a fun meme, I think, but that's not.
There's a level of theft to it, in my opinion, but it's a theft that a lot of people tend to be okay with, because there are some things that people are okay with being socialized, in a sense.
Yeah. People
are okay with the cops. People are okay with the fire department. People are okay with mo roads. Again, great arguments have been made for the roads to be taken over by private parties. And people just,
as far as like public services and stuff go, that's
the question is whether or not those people should, if you'd be able to maintain them. But the government is notoriously bad at maintaining them. But I think that part of the reason that the government is notoriously bad at maintaining them is the government is trying to micromanage people. which it should not be doing.
Yeah. That, and even then, you wouldn't be able to do an all volunteer force. Like volunteer fire departments are one thing. You would not be able to do a volunteer EMS.
Yeah.
Not in the slightest, especially with all the red tape and regulations and certifications that you have to have in order just to, work in EMS, and not to mention EMT, which you have to do more for. That's not something that you'd just be able to volunteer for. You have to have some form of compensation for it. That is a full-time job.
Yep, agreed. The one thing that a lot of people don't seem to have understood with me kind of leaning more libertarian these days, of the two, I am more of a minarchist than an anarchist.
Mm-hmm.
I think anarchy is, again, I called it, and I still think that pure anarchy, in the sense of pure freedom from government, it's utopian. It's never going to happen.
I agree.
People want leaders.
I agree.
It's just part of our nature.
Well,
we're never going to get beyond that.
Yeah, it's kind of necessary, I think. Like if you're going to have anyone, defending your rights, I don't think anarchy would be able to guarantee everyone's liberty, because at the end of the day, your liberty ends where a bullet begins. Like if someone really, really wants your shit, wants to oppress you, they will kill you for it. And if you don't have anyone else to defend you, you're fucked.
Yeah.
I mean, we've said plenty of times before that the purpose of government should be to defend the rights of the people, protect the rights of the people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd say do it, keep it that way.
All right. So next question's from Tom the Fish. He says, should the U.S. adopt the legal test created in Reynolds versus Times Newspapers Ltd.? So apparently this was a House of Lords case in English defamation law concerning qualified privilege for publication of defamatory statements in the public interest. The case provided the Reynolds defense, which could be raised if it was clear that the journalist had a duty to publish an allegation even if it turned out to be wrong. In adjudicating on an attempted Reynolds defense, a court would investigate the conduct of the journalist and the content of the publication. The subsequent case of Jamil versus Wall Street Journal Europe affirmed the defense, which subsequently raised successfully in 7 defamation proceedings. The defense was abolished by the Defamation Act of 2013, being replaced with the statutory defense of publication on a matter of public interest. So, how does this read, then, this Defamation Act? Changed existing criteria for a successful claim by requiring claimants to show actual or probable serious harm, which in the case of for-profit bodies is restricted to serious financial loss before suing for defamation in England or Wales. So basically, it looks to me like in England that it's the government that would prosecute a case of defamation as opposed to it being a civil matter, and I disagree with that. I think that if you're going to do a case of slander, tortious interference, things like that, that should be handled in a civil court.
Yes,
I don't think that the government should be involved
criminal.
there beyond that.
Yeah. This reminds me of... God damn it. The case that established actual malice as a requirement for defamation, slander, libel. I think that was New York Times versus Sullivan. Okay. I think that's what it was.
But yeah, it also looks like, yeah, you basically have to I don't know. I admit that I'm not understanding all of this just by reading the articles on there. I feel like we need a little bit more expansion on that, Tom. So if you could do so, we can kind of give you a more informed opinion on it. Generally speaking, again, if it is the case that it's the idea of government suing for slander, then that should be handled in civil court. But if it's something different than that, let us know.
What's the question? The legal test created.
Yeah,
so
legal
the Reynolds
test created,
defense,
but I didn't see
basically.
anything about a legal test being created. So I don't know what's going on there.
So, okay, here we go. 10 codes to satisfy responsible journalism. Okay. The seriousness of the allegation, the nature of the information, which concern about public matter, the source of the information to make sure that it's true, steps taken to verify the information, as in, did they go above and beyond to make sure, that this is right and not just sloppily thrown together. Status of the information to verify if the allegation was an old one or a new one. Urgency of the matter, whether comment was sought from the claimant, to see whether the articles contain the gist of the claimant side of the story, the tone of the article, so it's not just totally biased. Circumstances of the publication where the allegation should be brought to the public attention as quickly as possible. I mean, this still just sounds like shit that we already have in journalistic law. I mean, you've got part of slander or libel involves a reckless disregard for the truth, whereas you can publish a claim and say that, oh, well, I didn't know that it was false, but if you didn't do your due diligence in finding out if the information was true or not, then that's considered a reckless disregard, and you can still be sued for that slander or libel, regardless of whether or not you knew the veracity of it. So this just sounds like stuff that's already on the books here. Just more laid out.
I guess.
I'd say with this we already have it.
All right, let's keep going. Leonardo 1 wants to know, thoughts on the wall being there, but invincible. Haha. In all seriousness, thoughts on illegal immigration rates being so low. Gee, it's almost as if you should enforce the law or something.
Yeah, it's almost like, ICE is doing their fucking job.
Yeah. Can I just say something real quick? I was checking Twitter while you were answering the question.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Blaming an entire group for the actions of a few people is fucking stupid.
That sounds like an SJW thing.
It very much does. The logical fallacy escapes me. Poisoning the well, I think. But no, it's not poisoning the well.
No, it's fuck. I'm trying to think of the fucking word. Composition fallacy? No, maybe. Because it's definitely not a no true Scotsman.
No, yeah, definitely not no true Scotsman. It might be causal fallacy.
I mean, it's just a... I mean, it's still a generalization.
Yeah.
So...
Because, and the reason I say this is... There was somebody within CG that flagged a person's video for privacy, which he seemed to misunderstand what that flag means. Flagging for privacy is basically, if somebody puts a video up on YouTube and it contains your docs, that flag is there so that that video gets taken down and the person who created the video has to use the editing system and remove that.
Mm-hmm.
So, in which case YouTube has like a system where you can just blur stuff. And, the person in question is Tristan, who goes by Nerdette's Newsstand. I generally like Tristan, except lately she's been really odd in regards to discussion on Comicsgate and things like that. And one thing that really bothers me is labeling an entire movement, which includes me, based on one or two people's actions. So the person who did it fessed up to it. He said more than once, I probably shouldn't have done that. And Ethan set her straight on whether or not there should be a, she should even be throwing a fit about this. Because she's not in danger of losing her channel over a privacy complaint. You either edit the video out or they'll review it, and if you're in the clear, then it doesn't matter. If it was just a guy's tweet, that was it. But the idea that people are trying to cancel her is ridiculous. Nobody is, like, I hate to be the egotistical one here, but if you compare that to what happened to me, where people were trying to label me as a sexist, because I imitated Edwin Boyette saying, Heather Antos is a cum dumpster. Cum dumpster. Like, and there I go again. It's an impression. It's a joke. It's not meant to be serious. I don't really think that Heather Antos is a cum dumpster. I don't know anything about her. But people within anti-CG were taking clips of me out of context and emailing them to people I know to try to get them to embarrass me publicly and publicly denounce me. And a few came to me in private and just said, hey, just so you know, somebody sent me this. Only one person tried to set me straight, and I called him out on his hypocrisy. Like, when people are trying to damage your personal relationships with people, when people are trying to, you know, drag your name through the mud, or try to get people to refund your book, which people were trying to do for Englewood, that's different. Like, that's canceling. That's they were trying to hurt my revenue. They were trying to, and not just me, mind you, because you hurt my comic book revenue to get people to refund that comic. That doesn't just hurt me. That hurts everybody who's attached to the book. Which means you hurt Brian, you hurt Armand, you hurt Eric. So, this idea that all of Comicsgate wants her destroyed or something like that is preposterous. You're free to do whatever the fuck you want. Criticize whoever you want. We have the right to answer your criticisms. People answer their critics all the time, and they should. That's part of being a public figure. So to sit there and act as if all of Comicsgate is responsible for the actions of a few is fucking stupid. We didn't all get together and say, destroy this person. If you got evidence of such, I'd like to see it, because I'm not aware of it. And I have always found that sort of thing just fucking ridiculous. Guilt by association. That's the term I was looking for.
They're fucking obvious, and I didn't even...
I know.
Yeah, okay, well, shame, shame, shame.
So, my whole thing is this. Like, if you're playing the disavow game, you can go fuck yourself. You know, not everybody agrees with it, with what everybody else does. You don't, you know, and just because somebody doesn't agree with somebody else about something doesn't mean that there needs to be some sort of fucking internet fight over it. It's not worth it. Do you think that I completely disagree with some things that Ethan and John Malin said about The Mandalorian? Do you think I'm going to chew their fucking heads off? Of course not. It's a disagreement. I also thought Ethan was being a little hyperbolic when he said that OGCG were going into harassment after Marvel tells them to fuck off. I wouldn't call it harassment. I would say you're just a protester at that point. You know, I think that Ethan was just being hyperbolic, which a lot of other people agreed with, and he didn't hold it against them either. It's almost as if discussion is capable here.
Almost.
Yeah.
You'd think.
Like, give me a fucking break. There are far worse people out there in this weird fucking world of comic books than people who might meme on you or people who might criticize you. Far worse people. I've dealt with them. I'm not Caesar, but I've gotten a few knives in my back too. And by the way, it seems like every fucking Judas is always ends up on the same team. Always. Looking at you, Mike and Edwin. You guys have a Judas factory. Seriously. Though I would lay it, I guess I should lay it more at the feet of Doug Tenable because he encourages that sort of behavior. Ridiculous. It's fucking stupid. Let's get back to making our books, you know? Anyway, so the question that we had, the next one, we got two more, was from Daniel Garza. He says, a friend of mine joined the Army. With all the Iran talk, I've been looking at a military career, requesting prayers for me in that decision and for my friend. God bless. Absolutely, Daniel. Mm-hmm. And it's a good thing to consider. The military is good for you. You know, it is good for you.
Well, depends on what branch you get into, at least.
Hey, now. My,
I'm just saying, well, it depends on which branch you get into and how the people you surround yourself feel about it. Because if you're around Army people and you join the Marines, they're going to give you shit and call you a crayon eater for the rest of your fucking life.
True. Yeah, Jarhead did not start out as a compliment. We'll just put it that way.
No.
But yeah, I'm partial to the Army because my dad was Army.
Too.
My dad was my dad was infantry, and then I have quite a few friends that served in the Army as well. But I've got a lot of friends who are Marines too, so I only know like one guy who was Navy, and he was a SEAL, oddly enough. So he was a badass, to say the least. He passed away a few years ago, but anyway, yeah, when it comes right down to it, we will definitely be praying for you. And God bless you. Seriously. Thank you for even considering doing it. And then finally, Will Geary wants to know, why does the left seem to treat Islam like a race when not only are there multiple ethnic groups who practice it, as well as many Islamic countries outside of the Middle East? I don't know. That's one thing I've never really understood. It doesn't make any sense, you know?
It's largely just a form of argumentation that they believe the opposition towards Islam is largely based on prejudice against Arab peoples. That it goes in with their whole racist against black and brown people thing, because Arabs tend to fall on the brown side of the spectrum. Okay, well that's why. I mean, and really, when you look at it, a lot of the criticism against Islam is related to what Islam stands for, what Islamic countries do and have done. So throw the whole race thing out the fucking window, but it's just they're trying to simplify it and really make it worse than it actually is. I mean, that's why I think, I think Islam is Right About Women was a brilliant fucking campaign because it fights back against that kind of bullshit. Like, how do you react to that? How the fuck do you react to that?
And that's generally the one thing that the intersectional left constantly comes into contact with, is how contradictory they are. I remember there was somebody in British Parliament who was part of the LGBT lobby that was crying about the fact that Islamic peoples were not wanting pro-LGBT stuff in their schools. And it's like, well, these are the people you stand for. And you're surprised when they turn on. You knew what their beliefs were. And you didn't acknowledge it. You know, you tried to basically tell them that everybody is their enemy because they are of different skin color and religion, when that wasn't necessarily the case. And now you're surprised when they turn on you. You know, it's stupid. Intersectionality is an idiotic thing, just in general. It never works. Mostly because it makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, we have reached the end. So, thank you all, by the way, for giving us these questions. Always fun to do this. Not to mention we get to rehash our knowledge of logical fallacies. I haven't done that in a while.
Even though we forget the names of them.
Yes. So, but we do really appreciate you guys. And hopefully we'll get to that 1,000 sub mark soon. Keep growing this podcast because we have fun doing it every week. I've noticed that the crowds are getting bigger and bigger every week too. We start seeing new people in there. So, always fun stuff. We really appreciate you guys. You have no idea. So, Hatman, any final words?
Keep backing Englewood because we're almost at 13K now.
Yes.
Yeah, we're under $200 away. So keep at it.
Well, we're $210 away. Yeah.
Yeah. It is still coming.
Absolutely. Alrighty, folks. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Micah Curtis.
And I'm Alex Baldwin, the Hatman. The full Hatman still. Still not hungry.
There you go. We'll see you guys next time. Day useful.
Day useful.